There's another good question, Michelle. I think this is also one that comes up a lot. Is it normal to experience depersonalization, derealization constantly? Sometimes it's stronger than other times, but generally I feel a constant. Oh, I don't have the whole sentence, Michelle. Sorry, I need to read it from my phone.
I think we can
That
figure
is
the rest of that
one.
out though, right? Constantly feeling disconnected all day long. I would guess, like, I feel this constant feeling of,
Yeah.
oh, actually, I have
Okay.
it right here. I feel a constant sense that
No,
I am in an alternate reality or a different
reality.
dimension. It is so strong. I feel zero sense of self on a daily basis now, which makes it very hard to accept and allow, as if there is no me to accept and allow. So, yeah.
Well, DP and DR and also existential thoughts and fears tie into this. One of these sensations that are most troublesome for people, and I get it. I've experienced them myself, and it's kind of like it's so hard because you feel so disconnected from everything. But I would like to point out something, and this is what I also hear all the time: is I have DP/DR 24/7, and I'm saying this with all respect. I don't think so.
Oh, you're in trouble.
No, and I would like to clarify. So you think you have it 24/7 because you're focused on it 24/7. The mind or the brain has a function of checking in, and not only anxious people do check in all the time. Even people who have no anxiety check in all the time. We're just not aware of it. But just think back at a time where things were going really smoothly and you were happy. And there's this very subtle checking in. You're like, oh, yeah, I feel so good today. Oh, yeah, it's a good day today. It's a good day today. So the checking in is happening. But when you're anxious and you feel disconnected, you are more sensitive to those check-ins. And what happens is, so you feel disconnected. Here comes the check-in. Hey, how do you feel? You're like, oh shit, I feel disconnected. That is awful. So you label it as something really bad and dangerous and something you must fight. And then of course this cycle continues. Another good way to prove that it's not 24/7 is to really think about how many times you are engaged in something and you're not thinking about DPDR, and then just the thought of DPDR triggers the sensation, right? So it's just, it comes up in these clusters. There's this cluster of thought, feeling, bodily reaction that is all one network. And when you're engaged, you don't feel it. But when it comes up, one thing, either the sensation or the thought of it or the memory of it, triggers it actually. So what I just described, the labeling of the feeling of how do I perceive this, this is so, so important. Because if we constantly say, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is dangerous, well, guess what? What is going to happen? We're going to get more of that feeling because this translates into telling our brain, yes, this is awful and this is something I must fight. And then I get more adrenaline, more cortisol, which in turn increases the feeling of DPDR. So DPDR is, it has a function. It gets triggered usually as a result of trauma or just overwhelm, but then it is a self-perpetuating condition. So it's not serving its purpose anymore as a protective function against the overwhelm, but now it's self-perpetuating through the negative appraisal of it. So people who say, I have this 24/7 and I don't know why, because my life is, not full of traumas. Think about this. How am I labeling this sensation every time that it comes to the forefront of my consciousness or I feel it? So the trick is really in changing your appraisal.
Right. And we
Right,
hear
Michelle?
that a lot, like having it 24/7, but like if you're on like some of the other groups, right? When you post a lot, I can call your bluff. I could say, but you just said 3 weeks ago, oh, I had this day where I didn't even notice those sensations. I didn't even have them. And then like you have a bad day. And we tend to kind of go to extremes anyway. We think in extremes, we talk in extremes. And I say a lot like practice talking in shades of gray, start identifying shades of gray, because we go, I've been feeling this feeling forever. It's going to go on forever. And what happens is we just keep ourselves in a perpetual state of fight here, waiting for tomorrow. And whether it's, I'm having this feeling 24/7, or intrusive thoughts, I'm having these thoughts all day long, pummeling me, like torturing me. I'm being tortured by, you hear the words? I mean, anybody give it like a little thumbs up if you're on this chat and you're like, oh, hell yeah, that's me, right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
if that's how you're talking, it's like that you're reinforcing this is, it's so bad, it's danger, right? So don't like it all you want, but you get to practice stop treating it as important, right? Kind of like an earworm, right? Like a song that gets stuck in your head. You're like, oh my gosh, is it gone yet? Is it gone yet? Is it gone yet? Your alarm helps you go looking for it to see if it's gone. That's like how we get stuck. That's the paradox of it all. Your alarm works great when you're fighting real danger. You're going to be on the hunt for all 5 snakes in your house until all 5 snakes are gone. But what happens is, oh, let's go find more thoughts we don't like. And I'm like, okay, well, here you go. Let's help you find some more. And you're like, oh shit, it's there. Oh, there's that feeling. It's there.
More and more and more. You're like, what?
Your alarm shows up like this. Here, let me help you find that. Here's your thing. Oh, there's my prop's better than your prop. My prop's better than your prop. And it's like, it's the behavior that keeps it going.
Yes.
Not what anybody's really calling about. Not your thought, not your PMS, not your sensation, not your heart palpitation, not your dizziness. It's how we treat it. It's this, right? So the more you fight derealization, the more your alarm shows you derealization until you stop fighting derealization. And then that feeling starts to fade. And it doesn't matter what's on the other side of that fight. It's the fight. The fight keeps it locked in. It's never the content of the thought. It's never what the physical sensation is. Here's a fun little trick. If you guys whoever's listening to the call, if you hold your fingers up and if you put all of your focus and your attention onto the tips of your fingers, Aida, let me see if you find it too.
Okay.
Look at really focus like on the pads of your fingers. If you really, really, really concentrate, can you kind of feel them tingling?
Yeah. And it also feels like, they're just doing things.
You can feel the inside of your fingertips, right?
Yeah.
I was on a call, but I was like, oh, come on, now I have fingertip anxiety. Like, you find what you're looking for. So I might say, oh my gosh, but I have fingertip tinglies 24/7. You might, but you didn't notice it. Once you notice it, then you look and see, is it gone? Do I still have it? That's where we get stuck for a loop. So for whatever reason, boom, there's derealization. Boom, there's nausea. Boom, there's whatever it is that starts it. But like Aida was saying, we get stuck in the loop of now I'm fighting that discomfort, and the fight is what keeps the cycle going, not what started it. Something might start it, but then it's like, these shaken up jars of sand that I always have. Something might shake it, but now if you just keep trying to shake it away, you just keep shaking it up. This is a settling down process. Something might get your alarm to go up, and then it passively winds itself back down. We are not passive people. We have spent years trying to teach people that are really good at doing things how to do nothing. Everybody's like, oh, tell me exactly how to do nothing. All right, how do I do nothing? Biceps and allow? Hold on, let me get a highlighter and some Post-its. I'm going to record this, and I'm going to replay this. I'm going to read there again, and get a little tab. Okay, all right, let's do nothing, do nothing, do nothing. That's a whole hell of a lot of work to do nothing. Doing nothing is really being still. And it's the 4 steps of dare. Try not to look them at as like you're saying words a certain way to cast a spell to make it gone. It's really taking on this attitude of indifference. I don't have to like this feeling of derealization, but I'm no longer treating it as danger. I'm going to kind of it feels like that pain is there, right? Picture like your windshield, right? When you're driving, and if it starts to rain, you're not like, oh shit, it's raining. Now I just have to stare at the raindrops. Oh, you still look through the windshield, right? You look through the windshield, whether that's bird poop on there or not. You learn how to look through the windshield. And that's this idea. This is a focus and an attention and a behavior problem, not a black smudge on your brain that we need to do all this work. That's not the problem. This is like what we focus on is what we see. And it's learning how to adjust your focus.
Yeah, and it also teaches you to not add stories to it. Using Michelle's analogy of the windshield and the rain, it's like, why is it raining? Why is it raining? It was just sunny 10 minutes ago. Now it's raining. What does that mean? And what could happen now? So the stories we add on top are really the problem, right? And our mind loves to add stories to everything. Our mind is just treated like an organ that does things. It comes up with weird conclusions and thoughts. To give you a real life example, Michelle, yesterday I was taking out the dishes from the dishwasher, and my cat Jamie was sitting next to the dishwasher, And as I was pulling out the knife, what do you think happened? Where do you think my
chop
mind?
this kitty up. I can just.
So my mind was like, oh, and my response was, well, that would be a mess to clean up, right?
Oh, the dish is already clean. That would freaking ruin everything, right?
Right? But just imagine if I would have said, why did I think that? I mean,
Right.
kind of like, it's not a weird thought to have. You're having a knife in your hand and you see a kitten. It's like, you know, it's almost a given that you would think something like that. Or when you watch a movie and you see somebody killing somebody, like a sibling, yeah, you would sit there and like, well, what if I would kill my siblings? Well,
right.
She deserves it. She's it.
Right. Right. And that's never the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is the response to it, right? It's the, I call it the gasping and clutching of pearls, right? It's not the, oh God, I could chop this cat up, right? It's like,
yeah. Yeah. Why would I think that? Do I really want to do it?
Oh my God. Do I want to take the cat? Somebody take the cat. Somebody take the knife and take the forks, because I can kill the cat with the fork too. And oh my gosh, now do I want to kill the cat? Why would I think that? Right. And it's right. Something reminded you of something else. You got scared, but now you're attributing fear to danger because you thought of danger. And all it is, honestly, it just reminded you of danger. It reminded you of something that could be danger. Knives don't usually remind you of something that are comfortable. They remind you of something that could hurt or could cut something, right? And it's just our brain. Sometimes it just gets the wrong information, right? And it's just like, oh, I don't know, Michelle, danger? Here's some fear. I'm alerting you. Danger? Oh no, that was just a thought. That was just me thinking about it. So if that's the response of, oh, geez, that's a thought. Like if your automatic response is, oh, that was weird, and you just continue about your day, most people don't even realize they have those thoughts. So it's not like normal people don't have those thoughts, right? Like everybody is they're normal thoughts. So everybody has those thoughts. There's no label of normal people. We just have those thoughts and we see them like this, right? So suddenly they become more meaningful. And when there's fear attached to them, and now we start treating those thoughts as danger, our alarm will keep showing us what we treat as danger. Like, here's another example. We were watching TV the other night, and I had like this blanket on with the kids, and it's like a dark maroon blanket. And on this dark blanket, I look down and I see this shadow, and it's a freaking spider. And it had worked its way from the bottom of the blanket to here. Oh, and I freaked, right? I see this thing, and it was so close to the color because it's like brown. And I went flying, and then we couldn't find the spider because I chucked it across the room. So now there's uncertainty. And that's where we spin our wheels too, because now the rest of the night, no blankets, feet are up on the couch, every little hair on my arm. Is that a spider? Right? Is that a spider? I had a string on my sock that got stuck in my toe. I'm like, the spider's in my sock. And threw in my slipper. That's just my body doing body things. That's just my protector doing protective things. Every time my protector does something, doesn't always mean danger. It's following my lead. If there was no spider, if I looked down, it was a piece of popcorn, I would have popped it in my mouth, right? But I noticed something, I perceived it as danger, and my body came to help me to fight what I perceived as danger. So there's going to be a period of time, right? We are not good at doing nothing. We are not good at letting time pass. So expect to be jumpy when you sit down, because there's still a memory of that spider. There's a memory of that jump. There's uncertainty. And we are always looking for a sure thing. We want certainty. We want to be sure we're not going crazy. And we try and find certainty in a world of uncertainty by spending our day seeking reassurance. And that stuff, everybody can stop immediately. Unfortunately, that will probably quiet down the entire Facebook page. But like, pay attention to, like, anybody ever have this? Anybody ever have this? Because it's uncertainty, because it could have another meaning. So it's that idea of like allowing uncertainty, allowing your body to feel fear sometimes, allowing thoughts that like trigger that fear reaction, but without then treating that thought as danger, right? How you respond to that thought.
And without labeling and without labeling yourself as sick or mentally ill. There's nothing wrong with you if you have thoughts like this. There's nothing wrong with you if you have intrusive thoughts, existential thoughts, anxious thoughts, weird thoughts.